White House claims without proof that FBI has outrageous corruption Barr will uncover. Washington. The White House on Sunday brushed aside congressional Democrats' concerns about Attorney General, reflecting his anger over unflattering depictions of his actions in the report by Special Counsel Robert S. Mueller III, including several episodes that might have constituted obstruction of justice. President Trump has authorized the Attorney General to investigate the investigation. Trump and his ally, Democrats, already have accused Barr of trying to put the best possible face on Mueller's findings and say they fear he will selectively release documents in an effort to undermine public confidence in the nation's intelligence agencies and Mueller's investigators. Mueller's report, itself, documents activities during the 2016 presidential campaign that caught the attention of U.S. law enforcement and intelligence agencies, including information passed along by Australian officials concerning a Trump campaign advisor, George Papadopoulos, who told an Australian diplomat that Democratic emails had been stolen by the Russians before the hacking of the Democratic National Committee's computer system became public knowledge. When Republicans had the majority in the House, Intelligence Committee Chair Devin Nunes Artulari spent nearly 2 years investigating the same issues without producing evidence to back up Trump's claims. White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders insisted Sunday that the administration is not prejudging Barr's findings, but expressed confidence, without offering proof, that he would be able to document outrageous corruption at the FBI. "I am not going to get ahead of what the final conclusion is, but we already know that there was a high level of corruption that was taking place," Sanders, in Tokyo with the president on a state visit to Japan, told NBC's Meet the Press. Questioned by host Chuck Todd about whether Barr could be trusted not to cherry-pick information, Sanders defended the decision to give Barr declassification powers that have traditionally been jealously guarded by intelligence agencies. "That's the reason that he's granted the Attorney General the authority to declassify that information to look at all the documents necessary so that we can get to the very bottom of what happened," she said. Once again, congressional Democrats have sharply questioned whether the administration is acting in good faith. Trump allies denied that the president's actions in any way undermined the core missions of the intelligence community. "We're not compromising national security here," said Senior Lindsey Graham. "The people who are worried about this are worried about being exposed for taking the law into their own hands," said Graham, who chairs the Senate Judiciary Committee. Trump, himself, defended Barr's review, saying before he left for Japan that it was not meant to avenge himself on political opponents. "It's not payback. I don't care about payback," he told reporters. "I think it's the push by the White House to investigate those who investigated the president comes against the backdrop of across-the-board resistance by Trump to congressional oversight. At least a dozen. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi of San Francisco so far has resisted calls by some Democratic lawmakers to open impeachment proceedings against the president, especially if he continues to reject Congress authority to carry out investigations of the president's conduct and finances. She argues that an early backer of impeachment, Rashida Tlaib, "I think it's moving toward that," she said on CBS Face the Nation, adding that the traditional congressional oversight process isn't working. The chair of the Democratic caucus, Hakeem Jeffrey, "Democrats can sing and dance at the same time, just like Beyoncé," he said on NBC. "We will not overreach." On the Republican side, however, there was increasing willingness to echo Trump's call for drastic punishment of law enforcement figures who helped move the investigation forward. Liz Cheney of why she was referring in part to texts critical of Trump that were exchanged by two bureau officials, including former agent Peter Strzok, who was removed from the Mueller probe when the messages came to light and subsequently forced out, and lawyer Lisa Page, who has also left the FBI. "It could well be treason," said Cheney. Cheney's comments drew an irate riposte on Sunday from Preet Bharara, who was fired by Trump as U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York. Legal experts have elected officials keep making casual, ignorant, idiotic accusations of treason. "I just saw Liz Cheney do it," Barr wrote on Twitter. Read the Constitute, copyright 2019 Los Angeles Times. Visit the Los Angeles Times at www.lateams.com. Distributed by Tribune Content Agency, LLC.
Raindrop, drop top, top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.